Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the restream of our Friday night community race here on Randomania. I'm Twisted Flax. I'm joined tonight with Gambit on restreaming duties, Euphoric 11 keeping us informed on what our runners find, and I'm lucky enough to be joined in the commentary booth tonight by Hupfin. How are things going, Hupfin?
It's going okay. How about yourself? How's your week gone?
I am very happy for the weekend. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Well, it may be well past October, but tonight's race flags are called Tricker's Treat in honor of a new bot that's taking up residence on our Discord channel called Tricker. Thanks to the tireless work of Zoe Vermillion, who happens to be one of our featured runners tonight, Tricker can create a random set of flags scaled to difficulty or featuring certain flags. We called up Tricker, and we asked for a flag set for tonight's race, and this is what it's given us. Does anything about it look interesting to you?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I feel it is supposed to be one of the, I guess, easier kind of arrangements that Tricker can provide, although we're definitely putting easier in air quotes on that. A lot of it does feel kind of almost typical. I did notice we don't have the moon bosses, but we do still have the summons bosses around, so runners got to remember Cave Bahamut is a summon, not a moon boss. That is an easy one to forget about.
No, absolutely. It does. We'll have to play it into our runners' minds whether or not they take the risk, go through the cutscenes to raise the whale and go to the moon just to hit that one boss spot.
Yeah, there's also the fact, since we are running this on the upcoming beta that's been running around as of late, that does mean we have multiple starter kits. So we have the Trap and the Mist starter kits set up. So a little bit of extra utility, but with Arcane Start, how much of that is actually going to be applicable?
We shall find out. One thing I do want to point out is that we are going to be using the brand new Supersmith flag. Normally, if you bring the Legend Sword and the Adamant Tokokol, you get the Excalibur, nice sword for Cecil. But with this flag on, we're going to be giving you one from a set of items that were originally only found on the Game Boy Advance and the PSP re-releases of the game. There are some very powerful weapons and some not so powerful weapons in that pool. Mm-hmm. So, and since Forge is going to be one of our required objectives tonight, we'll get a chance to see what weapon our runners will get to take for a spin.
Yeah, that introduces anything from the Sasuke daggers to the wonderfully named Flandango, beautiful name, to the absolute standard for the Final Fantasy franchise, the Excalibur. But we start off with none of those and nobody who can use any of that. We get Yang as our secondary character and an Earth Crystal from the Antlion.
I'll be very interested to see if any of our featured runners tonight go straight for that treasury. T. Wildish is on this flag set, which means that the items you're going to find in that treasury are going to be quite nice.
Absolutely. As treasure chest locations get more out of the way, more protected by trap chests or just sheer key item requirements, the quality is generally going to go up. It's not a guarantee, but generally speaking, the harder it is to get to, the better it will probably be.
We get our objectives for tonight. We have to rescue the hostage on Mount Hobbs, which should be a pretty quick objective. We have to find ourselves a Rosa. We have to get underground and defeat the Leviathans by the Town of Monsters. And it does look like two of our runners are going to take up that treasury immediately. We get a quick rate that treasury. Couple glass helmets. Is it a Avenger?
A lot of glass helmets. I think they make glass helmets in Troy.
I think I counted 4 there. I
counted 4 entire party of glass helmets, and then one other thing.
On Cubs World Morling side, we do see them taking advantage of the free characters, doing a quick check in Mysidia, fighting a Cecil and a Tella, the Mount Ordeal's starter kit, if you will.
Yep, and we see a Bard in the Watery Pass that Warlink is going to pick up. Sure, why not? Fill out your party.
Absolutely.
We do have the spoon available.
and also picks up a nice defense sword as well in the chest here, which also are rather incentivized into Wildish. So that's a very nice pickup when you're starting with the cane.
Yeah, I believe I also saw Warling pick up a white spear. So very, very good equipment for us starting out. And another glass helm. We better see 5 glass helms by the end of this seed. I know it's not the best decision, but it's the right decision.
Well, they are glass. Maybe they're breakable. And oh my, there's a Rosa on top of Mount Ordeal. This is a 2-for-1 objective that Zoe Familia is taking on right now.
Yeah, and he's up against just a normal Paladin. Not a difficult fight to find here, and it's already over. That is 2 objectives down for Zoe Vermilion inside of 5 minutes.
This could be a very quick seed for Ver and for everyone else running, because this is going to be a standout option for our runners, since it is already up front one of the objectives, and when you get there, it becomes the second objective. So, absolutely.
Yeah. Of course, we say that, but the first objective, forging the sword, that does require 3 key items, one being anyway underground and then the 2 ingredients. And then defeating the king, there are some nasty bosses that can show up in that spot. So we may have very easy access, but very easy completion, it's a different story.
I'm thinking specifically of a Dark Knight Cecil there, which I believe is one of the worst spots of the game to find him there.
Yeah, my immediate thought was to go double check if we have free bosses on, but you know what? That almost doesn't matter.
Now we have Cubs World taking on that Pale Dim on top of Hobbs. Warlink was looting the back part, actually the full part of the Watery Pass. Again, a very nice place to go on T Wildish. And Asuka has found Sirens already. Now the flag set is S Wild. Shops have anything and everything available. So if you can buy it, you can find it. Or maybe it's if you can find it, you can buy it.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to find or buy a way around that woman blocking the exit. I mean, I guess you could buy exits, but it's a little bit of frustration to go with your shopping.
Truly, one of the most evil bosses in the game is the old lady in Kaipo and the old lady in Troya. Cubs Rule did get through that Pale Dim fight, so that's objectives number 2 and number 3 looked up for him.
Yep, as Asuka has gone to pick up the 2 characters from Mysidia, and Warling finds another Rosa over at Damsian, so that's objective 3 done for him without having to go to Hobbs.
Eventually, of course, he will have to go to Hobbs, but if he feels like he needs to push it off for whatever reason, he will have that option now that he's found that second Rosa.
Now, of course, we don't have the hook, so we can't take this hovercraft much of anywhere, but this is a move that you see a lot of runners do, going into Damsian, picking that up nice and early, just to get it out of the way.
We see Warling taking a quick peek behind at the waterfall position here, finding the elements there. One thing we do want to point out, I don't know if anyone has done this, is that the key item, it is a Demist Hunt. It is not a free key item, so you are looking for that Mist Dragon who might gate a key item tonight.
Yeah, that is the only freebie that we have turned off. So yes, if we do find Dark Knight Cecil, you will just have to survive the 3 swings. But as we were saying, those are big swings at the Leviathan spot and quite a few other spots. Anywhere the magic power is substantial, or those are going to be a little dangerous.
No, 100%. That is one of the several bosses you do not want to find in that King of Monsters spot.
And one thing you don't want to find in the Antlion spot, honestly, is the Officer and Soldiers, just because this fight's so easy. You want it somewhere trickier, somewhere meatier.
Apparently must have found a black sword for Dark Knight Cecil on Cub's rule side, because that was an immediate swoon of the officer there, which will make this fight even easier.
Yep, and boost the XP that you get for doing so.
And we'll get a chance to see what key item is here. A magma key.
Well, that's our way underground.
That opens up objective number 4, although I don't believe any of our runners will want to rush there. You're going to want to build up your party a bit more before taking on that spot. But it does open up some opportunities to maybe check the free spot in Feymarch and possibly get Sheila 1 active before coming back and doing the Fabul defense if you are so inclined.
Yeah, anything that cuts down on your Fabul trips, always worth doing. And we have gotten some pretty strong characters pretty early on, both in terms of actual strength with Kane and once we turn him into a paladin, Cecil. And then we have Tella for really good utility. It's almost feeling like just stick with this party. This is who you want to power up.
Absolutely. If you were to give me this party and say this is a party that you have to take into the final fight with Mr. Romus, I'd say fine, let's go.
But we are going to get a little bit more of overlap across our runners as we are still 9 minutes into this run. We're still very early on. But Zoe is going to be the first one to take that magma key and drop it down the well. Give us some more information on the underworld.
I do think this is a very good decision, probably the one that I would make as well. Like I said, do some extra shopping down there, check your freebies. Always a good opportunity to get some extra key items under your belt and try to improve the efficiency of your routing. Yes, as we enter into 10 minutes into this race so far, we are basically just looking for essentially 3 key items. We're looking for our Adamant and our Legend Sword, of course, but also we would still need a way to get to this Romus fight, so either the Darkness Crystal or the Pass would be required.
Yep, and for all intents and purposes, those both could be in the same set of locations, anywhere in the overworld, anywhere in the underworld. The Pass rather could be at Cave Bahamut, which Darkness Crystal naturally couldn't. But that's one out of the plethora of checks that are available. So you're pretty much flipping a coin on which one you would expect to see at this point.
No, yes, it's still quite a few checks to make, quite a few bosses to hit, and obviously you still need to get your levels.
Yeah, on that front, you almost would rather the Darkness Crystal so you can set up a little D-Machine grind.
One of the downsides of the S Wild Flag being on is that the Sirens, you're guaranteed they're going to be in on a S Wild Flag, but you don't know where they could be. They could be in literally any item shop, underground, overground, on the moon. We do know that Asuka did find them, but if other people don't go to the same locations, they might have to find an alternate grind other than just the simple Sirens.
Yeah, that Peninsula of Power, as folks like to call it, it's very effective, it's very safe. Not the fastest out there, but you'll take that trade-off, quite a few times. And we did see the free item in the Feymarch was the pink tail. Not the standard rat tail, but close enough.
I was just about to ask, is that considered French vanilla?
Sure, why not? I don't know how you vanilla up tails, but that works for me.
Ooh, that's an interesting boss there. That is a Valvalis in the required King of Monster spot. And here's where I run to my Valvalis cheat sheet to see how bad of a spot that is. That is a bad spot. You cannot cast magic against her while she is spinning. Her defense, her physical defense isn't too bad. You can get through it. But if you have a party full of mages, that is not the place you want to see.
Yes, and Twisted Flax is not being metaphorical about having a spreadsheet of Valhalla's vulnerabilities. That is the sort of deep information that this community has put together, and it is a literal spreadsheet of what you can and can't do against Valvalus at various locations.
Of course, the plus thing is that you did start with Kane, so you can break the spin if you absolutely need to. But it will provide a challenge for our runners.
Yeah, and there's quite a few times that you actually don't want to break the spin, or at least don't want to bother, because that does result in Valvalus doing a physical attack, and in some spots, those physical attacks, they hurt. Speaking of hurt, here's Dark Knight Cecil on Mount Ordeals.
Now, that's usually a very nice place to find Dark Knight Cecil. That is a rather weak hitting spot. As you see, it's
yeah, he's trying. He's trying.
Even that base level Palom, I believe it is going to be able to withstand 3 volleys without a problem.
Yeah, we call him Pain Man, but he's kind of phoning it in today.
Now, we did see Zoe did go down and talk to Yang. Didn't have the pan, but we will be able to get the Sheila 1 check as well as the Defend Fabul check. And there's an Excalibur in the shop for once you do become a paladin.
Yeah, which so far Warlink is the only one really pushing on that direction. I believe Asuka actually got rid of her Cecil entirely. So yeah, not about to bother with ordeals unless necessary.
And the back attack spot here on ordeals is going to be CPU. I think you're happy to see CPU there, and it's the dance party over in the Fabul spot. It's Mylon and friends.
Well, unfortunately, this thriller dance is not long for this world. Kane making very quick work of the zombies, and Mylon is sure to fall soon after.
That Avenger sword is doing a lot of work there. Now, I'm going to have to admit, I did not see what Zoe did with her names before starting the race, and seeing my trick smell good Mai is not filling me with a lot of confidence. What she did.
Trick or treat, smell my feet, etc., etc.
Ah, of course.
Yes, harkening back to those immature teenage years that I'm sure we all had. And there is a tower key.
Well, combine that with the already open route to the underworld. We've got a one-shot Tower of Babel there, which is a very nice thing. You don't have to worry about doing Keyless Tower. We have Cubs right behind with the defending Fabul. However, he didn't go down to activate Sheila 1.
And you're going to want to activate Sheila 1, as that was the Darkness Crystal.
Well, that is access to Zeromus. That is access to Cave Bahamut as well, if our runners are so inclined to make that gamble.
Yeah, or potentially forced to make that play. If one of the 2 remaining items that we need is hiding out in Cave Value.
It does look Asuka is now going to be dropping the key, opening up the route to her underworld. And Warlink is doing a good job managing this CPU fight and has gotten through at least the big CPU, just has to wipe up the attacker. And Cubs has finished the Fabul defense as well. All of our runners making very good progress on this overworld.
Now, honestly, as Warlink goes into the crystal chamber up here, the one thing that I'm worried about is if he finds the hook. You see, he's the only one without the magma key at the moment. We found that over in the Antlion Cave. And if he gets another way underground, might be inclined to continue fading Antlion, which is a good joke, but not a good strategy on this seed.
No, definitely not. I know it's kind of a meme in the community to fade the easy check at Antlion. This is definitely one time you don't want to do that. Now, it's just the Baron key. Opens up a little more possibility, with the Baron throne and the Baron and the Odin spot as well.
Yep.
But
plus the shops.
Oh, yes. So again, on with S Wild, you have no idea what's going to be in those shops.
And finding Ashura as the fighting here, this is pretty manageable. Not a lot of HP, so doesn't take a lot to chew past. Asuka already on the eggs.
Absolutely. And if you get those early sirens, if you can get through a couple of them without putting your party in too much danger, that's a lot of experience early on. Can really set you up for a very good rest of the seed.
Yeah, and honestly, she is taking a pretty sharp strategy here, using stop on the egg to prevent it from ever hatching. So normally you would need to do about 1,500 HP of damage in one swing to avoid a hatch and any actual danger here. But what if you stop the egg? Take as long as you need. Well, not as long as you need. It does wear off eventually, but you get the idea.
And as you see, it's just 8 levels from just one egg. It's a big jump in power. Zoe has checked the moon character. It is a Porum. And when you've already found 2 different roses, probably not a character you're looking for.
Porum is a perfectly sound white mage, but we have 2 pretty good white mages, so we'll stick with the roses.
Zoe is also going to make a quick jaunt into Cave Bahamut. Maybe if it's a free boss or very nasty boss, we'll know. It looks to be... well, that's Rubicante, because we've already seen the elements.
Yep, that would be a nasty leg, I dare say.
So probably not something that you're going to want to visit until it's absolutely necessary.
Nope, Zoe is already heading back to the blue planet. He's got lots of other stuff to go do, so yeah, hold off on that Bahamut.
See Cup's now taking his trip up Mount Ordeals to get his Paladin online. It looks like Zoe is gearing up to do the Fabula in check.
I was about to say that Warlink might be a little more inclined to go do that Baron in check with that Baron key, but is coming over and doing the Antlion Cave first and probably going to follow that a bit further.
And we have a Sid waiting for us in the inn, with Evil Wall being the first boss fought, and that's not going to be a problem.
Magus Sisters as a second fight might be a little bit of a problem. This is more of a punchy spot than a magic-y spot, but has a fair chunk more HP than that first spot with the Evil Wall.
I love this spot because I believe this spot is one of those spots where if you let the sisters get their spells off...
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. They don't coordinate their wall and their fire attack correctly.
Look, they've been at the inn for a while. It's been a long night. They're a little out of sorts. They'll sleep it off. It's fine. It's fine. It's a Luca key. It's fine. We do have the Warp Glitch disabled in this flag set, so we are going to need that key if we're going to check the sealed cave at all.
That's always a good quick check to make, since you can just run down there and you get to check the key item before fighting the boss. So if it is nothing that you're looking for, and right now you're looking for basically 2 items and maybe a couple of the connecting items like the Twin Harp or the Pan, but there's a very good chance that the item that you're going to find down there isn't worthwhile, so you can just immediately reset out back to the top of the underworld. Yeah,
but generally speaking, that is a a last-ditch kind of play, although I guess Cape Bahamut is probably more last-ditch now that we know what's up there. Meanwhile, Cubs Rule had a little bit of a stumble with the CPU. The typical strategy is to focus your damages on the defender node and then on the CPU itself. Let the attacker node do its thing, because it's all fractional damage, so you can heal past it just fine. If you knock out both the attacker and the defender, CPU gets angry.
Yeah, CPU will take out 2 of your characters and recover those nodes, basically resetting the fight from that perspective. If you have a lot of damage putting out, you can go ahead and try that as a strategy and try to take out the CPU before it does its Globe 199 attack. But in this case, Cubs Rule just didn't have damage output to get it done.
Yeah, and there will be situations every now and again where you actually want to destroy the attacker node rather than the defender, but that's more about your party composition than the position of the actual fight. And when you have a proper white mage in the party, that's not one of those situations. Get the defender out of the way first.
Now, we do see now Cubs Rule did get through that fight the second time and has going to be getting their Paladin set up, and meanwhile Zoe will be entering their CPU fight. And it looks like Asuka's finished grinding on her egg. I believe she got a ton of levels out of that. I saw a Yang with excess of 2,000 hit points at this point of the seed.
Well, I mean, it's Yang, so that doesn't say much. But,
oh, true. I think that's maybe level 20 for him.
But no, that is going to make her fights a fair bit easier. Just having raw levels always helps.
And she gets her pink tail. Warlink did turn in that magma key is underground and going towards possibly a job dwarf check. We always like to see that.
Yeah, there's 3 wild shops and 1 stalwart member of the community down here, so it's worth a visit. An artist's agent.
Well, I suppose the dwarfs have artists too, and they need their Mr. 10%.
I suppose so. I know nothing about the art world, so I'm going to have to take your word for it.
Asuka gets the news about the Valvalis in the required spot and has a little thing about it, actually, because she does have quite a few levels at this point. If you wanted to make a run at it, she's well within her rights with these levels.
Yeah, it will be a bit tricky, just because you're not, comically over-leveled. And this party does have some decent physical damage, but again, she got rid of that Cecil and, naturally never turned him into a paladin. So you're leaning on you're more or less leaning on Kane and Yang to do the real work.
It is definitely possible. It might take a little bit of time, but it would be doable at this spot, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But it also depends on how comfortable you are, how you feel with the party that you have right now, and she might not feel that way right now.
But we do see that we now have shiny, fresh paladins on all 3 of our other screens. Zoe getting through the Crystal Chamber, Cubs Rule just leaving Mount Ordeals himself. And Warlink is down, about to get that pink tail, but is checking the path to Land of Summon Monsters first. There is a trap chest down there, so a little dangerous, but that does mean the T-Wildish loot will be slightly better.
Yes, this is always a very good place if you are looking for loot early on in the seed and you have early underground access to grab these chests and just reset out if you do find that one trap chest. Due to T-Wildish, the chests here are weighted a little heavier in terms of quality because of that one trap chest and the fact that it is behind a key item. So it's a good place to get some good gear early on.
You see, Cubsrule is running around Baron Town, actually found that black sword. But no, he had that earlier, so that's the second black sword that was available. Huh. Normally, you don't think about Dark Knight Cecil weapons very much because you want to get rid of Dark Knight as fast as possible, but hey.
I mean, if you do find a black sword and you do have the Dark Knight Cecil before he becomes a paladin that early game, it is a decent jump to his power level and has a chance to auto kill the non-boss enemies you find. So it is a pretty good jump to a relatively low power character. Warling sees the Val Valis and says, "Not right now." And even without going through that grind like Asuka did, I do not blame him.
Meanwhile, Cubsrule is taking care of the Baron Inn, having come back to town. Zoe came back to town, but with that Baron key, is going to dive into the castle. And we did see that antlion as the first fight in the opening cinematic, but we don't know who's on either of the thrones.
It is a 2 key item check, again with the case summon on. That is a key item check in the basement. And depending on the boss you do find down there, it might be possible even at early levels to do. Yes, you'll be going into this antlion fight and probably will have not too much difficulty with it, even with those counters coming out.
Yeah, this is necessarily... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this isn't necessarily a spot where you have to worry too much about the damage those counters do. There are some spots that are more magic heavy where those will tear through your party.
Yeah, this is the Baigen spot, and while Baigen's arms do technically cast spells, they're not terribly powerful ones, nor are they really meant to be.
We want to thank Inven for raiding with a party of 18. Welcome to the Friday Night Community Race. We are 2 objectives down and 2 to go. We have to find both parts of what we normally would be the Excalibur, but tonight it's going to be a special Supersmith item. We don't know what's going to be. And our runners do have to find a way through the Val Valis at the King of Town and Monster spot. That's currently where they're faced with.
And Zoe is currently faced with a bit of laughter as Golbez has taken the throne. Cutting out the middleman, I suppose. Yes, we'll go through the laugh track, the paralysis. There's not really... I would say it's probably not worth resetting and configuring your party so that you don't have to deal with the hold gas, thanks to status priority stuff. Just let Shadow have his fun. How often do we let him have his fun?
This is one of those nastier spots, since it is a sort of an ambush spot where you don't know what boss you're going to be facing before you go into it. And especially because also in this location, the save point is so far away from the first boss fight that just walking in here blind is kind of what you have to do, at least the first time.
Now, I will have to say, I'm not sure how bad the magic damage here is going to be. It's kind of bad, turns out. I say that only because Kanazo, his main tidal wave just is based off of his health, not his magic stats. So that could have influenced it in any direction. But no, the magic hurts. The magic hurts. And Zoe is bailing.
I do not blame her for that. That's a long walk to have to do again. And to basically come down to a 50-50 on who Golbez decides to target first. You can get a Star Veil up while Golbez takes the other person out of your party. You can get through that fight with very little difficulty. But if you lose that 50-50, unless you want, like I said, you want to go in with your party already piggied and smalled up so that you don't get held down, it's going to be a challenging fight.
Yeah, and we did see there are ribbons for sale in Troya, so I actually don't know if that would even help in that fight. They do tend to protect you from quite a few status effects, but I don't know if they make you immune to the hold gas. It's pretty overpowering. Either way, when you have to go sit through all of that for one item location, we'll worry about it later. There's enough other things to do.
No, that's true. If it was down to that and maybe the remaining summon spots, you might have to grit your teeth and go through it again, but you're slightly spoiled for choice in this location.
Yeah, but Zoe is actually going to go and head to the tower. Oh no, head to the treasury. I was gonna say I thought we did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go to Zot. The thing that we haven't done.
Now at this point in the seed, going to Zot is a very strong play.
Yep. This was the key item that we started with. So follow your initial chain. It might be wise.
We have Cubs Rule getting down underground and doing Fey March as you might expect, and we'll be getting the news about Valvalis. Asuka has gotten through ordeals. It wasn't as high a priority for her as it was for the other restream runners tonight because she does not have a Cecil in her party, but she'll still get the key item here. And it looks like Warlink has successfully defended the bull. We'll be getting the key item there as well.
And that is some good comedy up at the Tower of Zot.
It's the fabled D-Mist at the first boss spot here. This is one that technically you can come to as soon as you start the game, since you do not need the Earth Crystal in order to fight this boss spot. And there are fabled seeds out there where D-Mist holds your underground progression, and you literally go all over the overworld doing all your checks, trying to find every other spot where D-Mist could be, and he's chilling at this most nasty of spots.
Of course, fortunately, we had that magma key over in the Antlion Cave, so D-Mist doesn't get to hold down progression, but we do have to remember, when we finish Tower of Zot, go back to Mist and see what our reward was.
That is something I do see time and time again, and I have been guilty of it as well. If you do D-Mist as the first boss at a location, and of a multi-boss location, you can sometimes tend to forget about it because you get a key item at the end of it, you might follow that one off, and you kind of forget to say, oh wait, I got D-Mist, I can go to Mist Village and pick another key item. And there have been times where I have lost significant time because I forgot about doing that check until much later.
Yep, or just forgot about doing it pretty much entirely if you're bouncing around flag sets too much.
Yes, we is through that first fight, and we see if we go to Dwarf Castle, we're going to get a free second fight with the King Queen Eblin, since that is the indicator of the second fight there.
Yeah, the real challenge is going to be in the first of the two fights. And even that could end up being completely free. I am a little surprised now that I'm thinking about it, though, that everyone's been underground. Nobody's done that yet.
I think it's a case of between the two boss checks and the warp glitch being off, it might be a little less priority than some of these other checks in easier spots or with more key items.
No, that is a fair and valid point, and Cubs Rule is doing Dwarf Castle anyway. And we see in the Valvalis spot is the Plague Fight.
It'll be interesting to see if we can get through this. I believe that we can before having to do any of the manipulation to reset the count on this fight. If you can't kill off Plague before the count hits 0, you can do some manipulation by killing off your own party members and reviving them, which will cause Plague to reset the count on all your party. But I think we might have enough damage here, especially with that Avenger Sword, to get through this.
Yeah, but is going to play it safe and knock out that Sid. Might be too late. You do have to work through the ticks with the life potion and all of that, but nope, does get one off.
Whew, very close. Warlink has also found the Sirens and is going to do a bit of egg grinding on his own part, trying to build up some of these levels to get through these checks, which is, I think, a very smart play. And it does look like Cubs Rule is going to be giving us a check on the fight here, at least the first fight, and it's a Sparkle, so we'll be held in suspense for a little bit more.
And so we will get to do some angry swinging a bit more. The Avenger Sword is the reward for running Tower of Zot. Though again, we have that D-Miss double check.
Well, V has both a Kane and a Cecil, so 2 Avengers won't go to miss. And Cubs Rule finds the D-Lunars in this first check in Dwarf Castle. And tell me, how do you feel about music tonight?
I could go for a jam. I could go for a single jam, possibly multiple jams, maybe even a tune.
I can dig it. And it does look like Zoe's going to be going right there. For those of you who may not know, several other things aside from all the boss spots and characters and all that good stuff is randomized. And one of the things is that we do play a random song from the world of gaming or other pop culture created by, I believe, Calamity has been the one who's been creating most of these, and they're always wonderful to hear. So once Zoe gets to the spot, we will lay off for a little bit and hear what Eddie has to play for us tonight.
Yeah, meanwhile, Cubs Roll is trying to take care of these D-Lunars, but the Calbrana spot does have a fair amount of HP between the 6 doll split and then the Mega Doll that they form. So tossing that on 2 D-Lunars that do not take kindly to being hit does make for a tricky fight.
Cubs Rule does get through that fight, but with 2 of the party members also taking that Dragon's Breath attack, turning them into mute, toad, small, all that good stuff. But then again, he will be facing a free fight in the second fight, so she'll be happy to see that.
Yeah, should be plenty of time to reconfigure, and we do get another Tella that exists. Not going to take him, but there was the possibility of a good character coming in. And there's a possibility of good music coming in right about now.
I must say, I love me some Chrono music, but I'm pretty sure Zoe's not going to love the fact that he's now facing that Calbrana doll.
Yeah, I don't think you get the full 15 silver points for that one. But 2 Avengers against Calcabrana, that is the sort of thing that tends to happen. You can't really control who they attack, so you can't take full advantage of that boss's trick. But you do get the hook out of that whole endeavor.
Combine that with the pink tail, that's an adamant armor.
Indeed it is.
Meanwhile, we do see the Warlink has gone up the tower, the first of our Restream runners to do so, and will be facing up against the Octomom, the top of the tower. And it's a Sand Ruby as the prize for defeating the Dwarf Castle bosses on Cub's Rule side.
Yeah, I must say that is one of the more reasonable things to be around Luca's neck that we can get in this randomizer. I'm just saying, wearing an Avenger sword, that's a bit excessive. That's all I'm saying.
It makes sense to me.
Avenger swords are big.
So he's going to take advantage of that hook and take a peek down here in the Eblin spot, maybe looking for what's available in the shops. Meanwhile, Cub's Rule is following Warlink right up the tower, be taking on his Octomom, I believe. And Warlink is lopping off those tentacles, making Octomom slower and slower, and will be able to get through this fight with very little issue at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, Cub's Rule, meanwhile, taking on these trap chest fights. I don't know if he's just hitting up every chest, and if you get the alert, then so be it, or if this is an attempt at getting some extra XP along the way. Grants him a rune axe, though. You can't be too mad about that.
These trap chests can give you some very nice items, so if you're still looking for a couple of good weapons to complete your outfit for your party, it's definitely worthwhile, because these fights go pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact HP amount. I think it's 1,600 or so, 1,600 or 1,700 to just one shot an alert. But you can be at about that power level by the time you come up here, and it's just swing wildly and get your free items.
Warlink is successfully through that Octomom spot. And we'll see what the first key item available in the tower here is. That's a required adamant.
That is required.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if the Legend Sword was the prize from the tower key?
That would be a certain kind of convenience, I suppose.
Meanwhile, Zoe is making her way back down Fame Archway. I'm going to guess we think that we can take on this fight against the Valvalis at this point, especially after getting that adamant armor.
Yeah, I think the adamant armor is going to be the main deciding factor. Plus the Avengers, although he is removing them from the two fighters. I don't know what the exact strat is, but the adamant armor it's overpowered, so definitely helps. And finding Odin in the super cannon room kind of helps. It could be an annoying boss at some locations, but there's nothing annoying here except Golbez. Golbez is always annoying.
Yes, this spot, especially for being relatively late in the seed, is always funny because it has about 400 hit points. So by the time you get to the point where you are able to beat it, you can basically just look at it and it'll go right away.
I'm sure there are some Wyvern configurations where that's basically what does happen. It can do retreat with Witchburn, right?
I believe so, yes. And Cub's rule is she can do the tower, the cannon room first. But we'll be going up the tower to complete the Octobomb, as we now know what is required.
Yeah, but we see Val is doing about 1,600 a punch once broken out of the tornado form. But that Avenger Cecil is doing about the same in return.
It is the pass from the tower key, which is a very nice item to have. It'll speed up your route to Zeromus, but not required. And meanwhile, Asuka gets the bad news about the Golbez on the throne.
Yeah, with her extra level, she might actually be able to Star Veil up and sneak past this, but this might be a reset here as well.
Warlink's going in to take out the Dwarf Castle bosses, and we'll see if on Asuka's side we've got Hallam and Rosa left to hopefully reflect something back to Golbez.
All the while, Zoe is chipping away at this Valveless fight, and it's looking kind of sketchy, but it's looking doable.
I believe we pushed a Moonveil onto Vercessel, so I think that will get her through this fight.
Yeah, I mean, a Moonveil and Adamant armor, you're not getting touched by anything, but either one of those ingredients is very strong just on their own.
And it looks like Asuka does win the fight against Golbez, which was not a guarantee in this location. So we'll get to see what she earns from having defeated her.
And that is Zoe through the Valveless fight.
Well done to Zoe. That is objective number 4 completed. And now it's just a matter of finding the 2 pieces for Coco to forge with.
And one could easily be behind that rat tail. We need to find that legend sword.
Well, Cub's rule is down to just a single tentacle on that Octobomb. We'll be getting through this fight pretty soon. Warlink is through the first fight in Dwarf Castle. That was the D-Lunars, and we'll be facing down the King Queen Evelyn. So we'll be through that spot pretty quickly on his side as well. Tell me, do you think we have enough glass hats in this seed?
No, never. We do not. Well, there's the legend sword. So we really only had 2 objectives this seed, I guess. Well, no, 3. We did have to get the admin ore, but...
Well, we're in commentators go mode, if nothing else, because we know exactly what needs to happen, but none of our runners have put together the full picture. So it's just a matter of finding the right places to go to.
Yep, and that means for Zoe going and doing the tower, as that Octomam was holding the admin ore, and for Cubs Rule and Warlink, it's actually just doing your objectives, weirdly enough.
One of the cardinal rules of running that we always preach is do your objectives. And even if it's a difficult objective like defeat Valvalis at the Town of Monsters, it's required. It's a key item behind it. So if you can get it done, get it done. Asuka's showing us the Mylon Z fight, which is on the Odin throne in the basement of Baron. This could be slightly unfortunate because we still have some rabbit holes we have not found yet. It could be the pan, could be... I think it might be the last one is the pan that would lead to other key item checks.
At this point, yeah. That's the only rabbit hole unaccounted for. But this is not necessarily like bad routing from Asuka at all. This is every step has been a sensible decision. Just now we here in the booth know it's not going to be the correct decision. Especially if it leads to the spoon, because I just noticed she got rid of Eddie.
Absolutely. I mean, rando's going to rando, and what turns out to be a bad play in one race turns out to be the correct play in the next race. There's really no way to tell. And given the fact that she had just beaten Baron Castle, and she's got so many levels, coming down here, taking out the Odin throne is objectively the correct way to do.
And it does get her a good splash of XP for clearing out that fight and a Leviathan summon, so a little unfortunate. But on the plus side, it does make for a dead end, so no further rabbit hole to be followed there.
Zoe is through the D-Lunas fight and gets to the free fight behind them. He makes quick work of this fight here.
Yeah, I mean, this is free, so you can just let the script play out, or you can defeat the king and queen with just power overwhelming. And sometimes that's faster. Sometimes that's way faster.
We got Warling cleaning up the Baron in fight. And it looks like Cubs Roll is also in Baron. Going to probably check out that Baron Castle checks.
Now, on the one hand, yes, this does mean that our runners are not going and doing the objective that will get them go mode. But, you finish your objectives, you still have the matter of fighting Zeromus and getting your party prepared for that. So some of these misroutes, missteps, they actually will end up getting your party more prepared for that end game and save you a little bit of time in that regard.
Absolutely. Every check you make is more experience to your party, potentially more good gear, and just gets you ready for that final fight that always looms in our runners' minds as they keep playing. It does look like Zoe is going to make the right check. He is in the Tower of Babel, but also taking these trap chests, and as you see, just a 2,000 hit takes out that alert and gets a check at these trap chest items.
And another Avenger sword. We don't need more Avenger swords. We don't need more glass helms. Pretty soon, we're gonna have to put these things on clearance, just to get them out of our inventory and to make room for the new season.
Put them on eBay. Glass hats, slightly used.
I think at this point we're getting to ones that haven't even been touched.
And Asuka is landing outside of Feymarsh, taking that walk down. Looks like she is ready to give that Val fight a try.
And chat asking where the pass was. The pass was the super cannon reward. So the tower key leads to that. Given the adamant ores at the top and all of our runners have the tower key, it's pretty safe to assume that everyone is going to end up with that pass as well.
Not necessarily. Zoe will probably go to the top of the tower first and then come down And since V will be in go mode at that point, if he wants to skip that, I think that V would actually absolutely do that. And so V might be the only one here who might have to make that walk through Lunar Subterrane.
That is a valid point, actually. I tend to be of the mindset that you go and do the Super Cannon room first because it's basically free. And so I guess I just tend to expect most runners will do the same thing. Most runners are better at this game than I am, so maybe they do things in a more efficient way.
Well, yes, we do see Asuka is going to be going to the Val fight here. And we've got dueling Golbezes on Cubs Rule and Warling's screens. With luck, they'll be able to get through this fight with a minimum of fuss after these extra levels, and maybe also requiring a little bit of luck.
Meanwhile, Asuka is off on this Valvis fight. If you don't have that Moon Veil, you don't have that Adamant Armor, Blink is a valid option for protecting the party. But Warlink does get through Golbez.
Very good for him. That, again, could be a relatively nasty spot, as Zoe found out earlier.
I mean, Warlink finishing it off with one party member alive and at low HP. I think you got the same idea. But Cubs Rule does get a Star Veil off and gets a lucky 1 in 4. So protects that cane and does some extra early damage. May actually get out of this with a full party intact. Or at least close to it.
It's a very good fight on Cubs Rule's side, and you'd like to see that because you don't want to spend more time than necessary on this fight here. You know, Asuka seems to have this Valval's fight well in hand with everyone blinked off. Except for the Kane, who is jumping.
Yep, it's the physical attacks that are really going to defeat the party. With Valvalus, the magic attacks, you know, they can paralyze with Ray, but weak is just down to single digits. It's not actually the kill. So Blink will protect you a fair bit in that front.
And Zoe is through the fight, has the Adamant, and that is officially go mode for Zoe.
Yep, so in just a moment, we will get to see what our Super Smith item is for this seed. As we mentioned at the top of the race, Coco will be forging the Legend Sword with the Adamant into something. We don't actually know what. Normally it would be the Excalibur, but instead, it's some item from the Game Boy Advance and PSP versions of this game. Could be a number of really good things. Could be something really good that this party can't use. Could be a complete whiff. We're about to find out.
Yes, this is a time when you hold your breath. You hope that the item you get matches with the party that you have, because I've been looking at these items in preparation for this this mode, and there are some really, really nice items that do tons of damage, items that have a lot of special magic attacks associated with them. So I'm really excited to see what we get.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to see Sid cast Nuke, you get your chance nowadays. If you want to see Sid cast Meteor, there's speedruns where he gets to do that. We get the Piggy Sword. That's an item.
That is something. That is
You know, I'm gonna say that is second in comparison to the crystal. I'm going to say the crystal is what you're really happy to see here.
So if my notes are correct, that goes for either Cecil or Kane, and it is a power 150 item, which I think is puts on par with the Excalibur, somewhere in that range.
I think it's actually higher. I think Excalibur is 140. Same domain though.
And would turn enemies into pigs.
So I do know that some of these weapons have to be tweaked slightly because of technical constraints. So it won't turn enemies into pigs on hit. You do have to use it as an item. That's the case with a number of those on hit cast spell kind of weapons. But yeah, if that is 150 power, that's actually not a bad get.
No, absolutely, and of course it works with all of our runners' parties tonight, since that can go with either the Kane or the Cecil, and most runners have both. So you get to sort of put that on and maybe take that off again with one of those Avengers, keep the power on thanks to the Avenger glitch. And now it's just a question of how many eggs does Zoe want to crack before going on to the Z fight.
Well, I think however many he just did is the correct answer. It was we out.
Right. I mean, we've got a party with blind mostly on melee damage as opposed to the magic damage, where you have to get those levels to get the nuke spell. You can go up to Z relatively low levels if you feel comfortable with it, and I bet V feels comfortable with it. And meanwhile, it looks like Asuka is taking a second shot at the Valvalis fight. Unfortunately, the first one did not end well for her. So hopefully the second fight will go well, because once she gets through here, she'll have that rat tail to get the Legend Sword, and it's just the adamant away from Go Mode herself.
Yep. Meanwhile, we've seen Warlink was down in the sealed cave, is now headed up to Zot to check these things out. Warlink and Cubs Rule definitely avoiding that Valvalis fight. Can't blame either one of them. You do want to have enough power to actually handle it, but we're seeing that you need strategy almost more so. These parties probably could handle it now with the right technique.
Yes, if once you get to these levels, you can get through it as we've seen Zoe does. I'm fairly sure we're going to be seeing Asuka through it as well pretty soon. But yeah, it's just a matter of understanding the boss patterns and knowing what specific spells you need to cast and what actions you need to take in order to get through spots like this that can be really, really rude otherwise. And Zoe is up on the moon, going through the subterranean. As we said before, we didn't check the tower room, or the cannon room in the tower, before coming down here. So we'll have to take the long walk through the subterranean instead of using the pass like Cubs World Warlink have, since they did do the cannon check.
Yeah, so this whole dive through the lunar subterranean takes about 5-6 minutes or so. That is time that our other runners are not going to have to commit in their run towards Zeromus. But Zoe's still got a pretty substantial head start finding all of the requisite items.
I do want to say that it's not just the 4 racers we're watching here. I think we have about another 10 or so running off stream, and we do not have a finish yet. So it's entirely possible that Zoe will get to finish first. But first, if he wants to do a King Ryu fight here to get a little bit more experience.
Yep, with this flag set that Tricker has rolled for us, it does include the life glitch, so we have a little bit of opportunity for, throw a weak, a swing, a life. If you really want to, you can try to arrange a life 2 and repeat ad infinitum, but just 1 or 2 of these kind of fights is a good start.
Absolutely. With the 10 key item double experience bonus this is, I think, is one of these biggest experience spots in the game. You're going to be getting 180,000 experience a pop with that life glitch on. So that's going to really speed up your leveling if you can take out these fights quickly. Asuka's still going through this Val fight, has all of her party up, so it looks like she's having a bit of a better time than in previous goes. Warlink
Go ahead.
I was just going to mention Warlink gets through the Tower of Zot, and we'll get the another Avenger sword from this, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Unfortunately, not the item that he's looking for.
And Cubs Rule is finally down in the treasury, about to get the 4 glass helms that we're all looking for, really. Along with a number of other things that are of mixed utility. That Moon Veil, though, Zoe demonstrated that is high utility. You should be glad to have that.
For me personally, Moon Veil is always one of those items that I always want to keep until I feel like I need it. I always never use it because I never feel like, I might need it later, but I really probably should just use it as soon as I have an issue.
It's like an elixir when you're playing these RPGs. Normally, you get one and you're like, oh wow, this is so powerful. I can never use it, and you never actually use it. But it's in the game for a reason. And also in the game is the final boss of the game. Would you like to say a few words about Zeromus?
Absolutely. Now, Zeromus is a nasty, nasty boss, and so we do not shuffle him into the rest of the bosses. So we keep him where he is, but we still have to have a little fun with him. So instead of having it show as the same as in the vanilla game, we have a little fun. We fight another boss from another game or from pop culture or for anything else. And so the question tonight, as I see our Z flags being deployed in chat, whose butt are we going to kick?
There's the crystal out, and we have... Well, we're continuing this Chrono Trigger theme this evening, apparently.
I love the synergy between the music and the final boss tonight. Asuka did get through that Val fight, gets the rat tail for her troubles and that 4th objective lit up. So she is well on her way towards her own go mode.
Yeah, although I'm noticing Zoe was the only one with the hook.
That's a very good point.
That hook was behind music, if I recall correctly. So we've actually got a fair ways to go for some of our runners. Warlink does have the harp. Cubs Rule and Asuka don't have that. Asuka does not have the adamant ore either.
True.
Oh, go ahead.
As I say, Cubs Rule is fighting the Demus, which is where you get the harp from, so he will be getting that. Yes.
So ultimately that means we do have to climb both of our towers. We have to do Babil and Zot in order to complete our seed this evening.
And it looks like Zoe is using those Avengers putting those Avengers to good use. as well as doing a little bit of reflex strats, having thrown a wallop on Sid, and probably bouncing a few whites off to increase the damage done to Lavasmus. And it looks like he has this fight well in hand. Ooh, we do have that Rosie going down there, unfortunately. That could... Oh, well, no, never mind, because there is the crack, the boom, the shake. We have Zoe Vermillion finishing in first place tonight. An official Discord race time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, 38 seconds. GG's to Zoe, who I believe just joined us.
Thank you so much.
Well, first off, yes, congratulations on the victory. How did you feel that seed worked out for you?
Not too bad, especially pulling that second adamant armor out of Lower Babel. Like the entire seed, after seeing getting the Rosa on Hobbs, and seeing the Valvalis there and pulling that Moonveil early, I was like, okay, I just need to figure out what my Saroma's party is going to be, and that's why I kept doing character checks. And I found that second admin armor and was like, okay, this is workable. And then I got the Piggy sword, and I was like, okay, this is definitely doable with just these two and Rosa. Okay.
I like 2 adamant armors. Yeah, workable. Just 2 of the strongest armor ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not too bad. That last pull, like forging, was going to kind of make or break my strategy. It was, all right, if this is anything for Edward or Yang, I might go grab one of those and do that gold dragon. If not, I'm just gonna go as is. And I was lucky enough to get a cane weapon.
Absolutely, we saw you digging in that the Lower Babel chests, and we were wondering what you're looking for. And then when you grabbed that admin armor, it's like, well, there you go.
That was not what I was. No, I was looking. I was doing the old PK play of looking for a crystal sword, so I didn't want to have to go buy that X-Cow. I wanted to save that time, and then I pulled the admin armor and went, okay, that's even better.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Exactly.
Now, we do want to ask, when you first saw that Val sitting at the required spot in Feymarch, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, okay, I have a cane. That's good. Worst case scenario, I can grind up and have an easy route to victory. I can't remember if I had already pulled the Moonveil. I can't remember where it was, if it was in the treasury or if it was in Watery Pass, but a little bit later I saw it in my inventory and went, oh, okay, I can do that pretty much whenever. I just going to take a while. And then I got the the hook finally, and I was like, okay, cool. Adamant armor plus Avenger plus Moonveil means I can kill Val right now.
Yeah, there was a Moonveil in the Troya treasury, right at the very beginning, nestled among the 4 glass helms that were in there.
Yeah, like so many glass masks in the sea. Like everyone in my party had a glass mask by the end.
I mean, you had them. You had enough to spare. With the Supersmith, what I know you mentioned, like if you got something for Edward or Yang, you would go grab them. Was there anything you were really hoping to see or hoping not to see come out of that?
The thing I wanted the most was either the scrap metal or the Caliburn, because that would have been a huge womp, but it would have been funny. And had I had a better party setup, I was actually thinking of Caliburn Avengering my Cecil, just for swag on Z, but I couldn't. Other than that, Requiem Harp was probably the one thing I didn't want to see. Even if I had seen like a mage weapon, I wouldn't have been mad. Even though my party wasn't set up to use it, I wouldn't have been upset. The Requiem Harp would have been great to turn my head into an Agi Anchor if I needed it, but other than that, I don't particularly care for that weapon.
Yeah, that's one of those trickier ones that I think for a lot of runs would end up being a womp, but like you said, it's a good way of turning Eddie into an agility anchor. So it does still have utility beyond the swag of the Excalibur.
Yeah.
while you're here, I also want. Oh, sorry. Continue. Yes.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I wanted to thank you for all your work you've done in getting the Tricker bot up and running. Because not only will we have subsets like this that come randomly from Tricker, but we also have all those fun hidden flags and all the other things that we will no doubt dig into as the beta becomes the live version soon. So I just want to thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was my pleasure. It was something I've been working on for a while. In our feedback and ideas channel in the Discord a while back, someone, I think it was Wylam, was toying around with the idea of hiding like the flag information on the front page of the seed. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I would really love a way to do like mystery seeds in free enterprise. And so I kind of started the process of making something that would generate random flag sets, but then it would still have the problem where you would either have to have someone generate it for you and just give you the straight up seed or the patch for it. Or all it was just a flag set randomizer, so it would have been just a more advanced array spot. And then I saw in the beta that we had the meta configurations to allow for hidden flags, period. And I was like, oh, okay, I can put the pedal to the metal. I can get this bot out because I'm such a huge fan of like mystery seeds in like Z3R that I think it's something that a good chunk of the free enterprise community will get some enjoyment out of.
Absolutely. I've seen some interesting combinations come out of this already, even from people just setting up their own configurations, let alone anyone who decides to cast Lit 3 on the thing. Bless them if they do.
Yeah, don't cast Lit 3 on Trickers. It'll be their turn now.
Yeah, but they're weak to lightning.
They are weak to lightning, and they are very vocal about it. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you both for commentating tonight. I want to thank Gambit for rolling the seed, and I believe it's Euphoric Lemon pushing the buttons, making sure Possum Morpheus doesn't eat them. We wouldn't have a restream without y'all, and it's always fantastic. Happy to have been featured on this restream. I'm happy to have been featured on the restream when I got my very first community race win.
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Yes,
I've been racing since about May-ish in the community races. I joined the community last March, and that's when I started playing Free Enterprise. And I've got a few seconds under my belt, but I finally got over the hump and I got my first victory. And that's really nice. And then to do it in a flag set that was generated by my bot, some people may call collusion. I will just say that I got lucky.
It's karma, maybe. Maybe it's that.
No. Bad karma's not on the restream.
But Tish.
One last question.
I will mention that you did get first. We do have the second place. Poydrak got a 1:19.03, so a solid 6.5 minute victory in that race. So GG again.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna bow out. Let y'all enjoy the rest of the race. I'll probably tune in and chat. But thank you all so much. And if you're watching this and you want to do stuff with Tricker, mystery flag sets, anything like that, we have in the Discord a Mystery Seeds channel. And I've tried to put as much information in there to try and get people started. But if you have any questions, do not hesitate. You can just DM me directly on Discord, and I will do my best to answer your questions and get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
All right, so that was Zoe Vermilion, and as we were having that little chat, Warlink did get through the Valveless fight. Is now taking on Kanazo. Again, he does not have that hook, so he can't go redeem that Rat Tail and Pink Tail. He's probably hoping that this fight will give him the Legend Sword straight out. Naturally, we know that's not going to be the case, but it's a reasonable play to make here. Cubs Rule, meanwhile, went to the moon. And has not bothered to actually do the Rubicante fight yet. Is still grinding, but he went to the moon.
Well, again, looks to be grabbing these King Roo fights. Again, a large chunk of XP every time you do it. So it is a valid use of your sirens to grind up.
And again, we do have that configuration in Free Enterprise in general, that once you hit 10 key items, the experience that you get from fights is doubled. So if you can manage to hold off your grind until you are at that point, it is that much more valuable. And Cub's rule is at 10 key items. We don't count the pass in that tally. Everyone else is at 10 key items. I say that very slowly to double check. No, Asuka is actually sitting at 9. But her grinds will... Well, she did an early grind as well.
Yes, that's correct. That's probably one of the reasons why she's also taking this fight in the sealed cave, get a little more experience. And also, I want to point out we do have just had a third place finisher with Microcorks finishing it with a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, 36 seconds. So GG's to him. Yes, Asuka now has that 10 key items. The package in the steel cave here absolutely not required, and I'm sure she knows it, but it does push her over that 10 key item limit, which will make grinding easier from this point on.
Yep, and Warlink, it looks like, to get through Kanazo with this return to Sylph Cave, I'm guessing the reward was the pan, but I didn't see it myself.
So where we stand right now on the restream is that Cub's Rule and Warlink both have the harp. The harp will lead to the hook, which will lead to the Legend Sword. So as soon as they give us the music we so desperately desire, they will be in go mode. Asuka still has a little bit further to go, but it looks like she is landing at the tower. We'll be getting her adamant at this from the top of the tower, and will be in the same position, but she will also have to go through the Tower of Zot, because that's where Demas is hiding, who will give you the harp. So, little ways to go.
And that was where our crystal sword was hiding. The Sylph's giving it out after you do the quick bonk over the head. Sylph's down there like, you call that a weapon? Here's a weapon. It's like, I did not know you were inclined to that kind of violence, but okay.
Makes you wonder what the pan was made of to begin with. If the crystal sword is enough to wake him up, maybe it's a little too sharp. It's a dull weapon you need.
It's an adamant pan. So good nonstick coating on that adamant as well. It's very practical.
We just got word of a fourth place finish. Harumph has finished with a time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, 38 seconds. Fourth place finish for him. GG to Harumph. And it does look like Asuka is clearing out the tower, going to the cannon room first, getting both the pass and the... well, she already has the adamant, so she already went to the top. So she is cleared the tower. And looks like we have Warlink taking a shot at the Odin spot down here. Again, a very good spot to go to if you're looking for this last hook, which will unlock the seed for him.
Yeah, honestly, it's a reasonable choice here between doing that or going and doing Zot. This is faster, so you're just looking for speed at this point.
I mean, I totally understand not necessarily wanting to do the Twin Heart check just because it is a long cutscene before you can actually finish it. So if you want to get out these quicker checks where it's just a matter of walking to the boss, smacking it a couple times, and checking the key item, it makes perfect sense from a routing perspective.
Yeah, see, there's Mylon Z gone already in what would probably be the time just to get to the Crystal Chamber in Cave Magnus. But just the Leviathan summon, and we have seen Rydia. Nobody took Rydia. She was showing up far too late in the seed to be desired.
She's a good anchor at level 1 if you need an anchor for the Z fight, but otherwise, much too late. Yeah, we do see on Cubsrill's side, he is taking on the leg fight, and the fire reaction cast that Rubicante does is doing basically nothing at this spot. So it's a very punchy spot, but not very magic heavy.
Yeah, the Bahamut spot you would imagine would be very dangerous with magic, given that it casts Mega Nuke, but that's just because that is an extremely powerful spell. So the magic power is actually kind of toned down a fair amount.
You see, the glare that in most places is a one-shot kill on your party. It only does 500 damage to the Cane. A Cane that I can't imagine is wearing much magic resist gear to begin with. So, yeah, and Cubsrill is through with that fight. Just gets a Dragoon Spear for the troubles.
Yeah, sadly, we've had better spears since the Treasury, really.
And we do have a 5th place finish now. Roger McBain finishing in 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 2 seconds. GG to Roger McBain. Now, Cubsrill is pretty much finished with the moon. Comes back down. Will hopefully be doing these other checks that will lead him to his Legend Sword. Warlink is going to also be going to the moon. Looks like he's saving outside of cave value, as we call it. No value here tonight, unfortunately. Well, Asuka is saving outside of Troya and looks to be going up Tower of Zot, which, yes, this is the right path to be taken at this point. Obviously, as we know, because we've seen this happen before. We know where all the correct checks are, but good to see that Asuka will soon be on the right track.
Meanwhile, Warlink is also taking on this Rubicante fight. We did mention, at the very beginning that with how the key items are distributed, you do have to remember the moon is haunted, except for maybe this spot. This spot's still haunted, it turns out, but you do have that kind of in the back of your mind.
The race that we ran on Monday with these same flags did have a required key item hidden in cave value here, and I know a lot of runners, myself included, faded that spot for a long time. So sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't.
Yep, that is Randomizer in a nutshell.
And there is the demist on Asuka's side, so we know that this is going to be a double key item check location. I'm sure she's very happy about. Cubsrill has a lot of levels on his characters right now, and still needs to take out this Val. So that seems to be the option for him, and he's taking it. Warlink is safely through that fight with the leg and resets immediately after seeing that Dragoon Spear. Very clever for him. He left his last save on the underworld, or on the overworld. He doesn't have to fly back down with the whale, which will save him some valuable time.
Yep, nice little optimizations like that you learn to do. The more you run this, the more you play this, you start to see those opportunities.
Absolutely. The game gives you 4 save slots for a reason. It took me a long time to realize just what that reason was.
Yep. Yep, I for a long time had that habit of just tossing everything into the first save, and sometimes it makes you overcommit. You learn to get away from it once you've overcommitted once.
It does look like Warlink is going to give us an encore of our music tonight, which is good for him because this is exactly where he needs to be. Meanwhile, Cubs Rule is taking on this Val fight and looking at these levels and looking at the damage output. I have to think that he's got to be in a good position to get this fight through.
Yeah, I would say at this point, pretty much everyone on our restream has parties that are just at that position. You don't need to strategize too much to take on Valveless here. It's still a scary fight, but there are few things in this game that cannot be solved with power overwhelming.
When in doubt, more levels. And as Cubs will finish up with the Val fight, gets that rat tail and that 4th objective, we're going to listen to Gato's theme again.
Yeah, more levels means less Gato theme, unfortunately, for those fans of Chrono Trigger. That Quake would have just wiped them all out. There's no reason to do anything else.
Absolutely not, unfortunately. So that's Hook for Warlink, which I'm sure he is very relieved to finally receive. Cubs Rule is taking on the Kainatsu spot here, and absolutely the right play in his position to make, since this could very well have the missing key item he needs, and he's right here. He doesn't want to make the 3rd trip down to Famar if he can help it. Asuka gets through Power of Zot, has the Avenger, and will hopefully be making a quick trip north towards Mist Village to be picking up the Twin Harp. And here we have Warlink taking that hovercraft over, going to be turning in that rat tail and the pink tail, getting 2 very nice items. Of course, getting the animate armor from the pink tail, but also getting the crystal sword from the rat tail, and going to be officially making this a 17 out of 17 seed for him.
But that does mean he is our next runner in go mode at this point. Just has to go down to Kokol's Forge and pick up that piggy stick.
Cubsroll unfortunately did pick up the pan from the Kanato spot, so that's a very obvious key item check to be making at this point. We'll be getting a crystal sword out of the deal, which is, obviously, you never don't like getting a crystal sword, but unfortunately will not be heading the right direction towards progression.
And you were saying earlier about Rydia being level 1 good anchor. Well, Warlink is going to take you up on that.
I mean, if you never find a cursed ring, or if you just don't want to deal with the mathematics behind agility manipulation, just find a level 1 Rydia, put her in the middle of the party, and you're good to go. Here's Warlink forging his piggy stick. Meanwhile, Asuka is in kind of a weird position where she's trying to get her party down as fast as possible to get through this unwinnable first phase of the Dark Elf fight. Unfortunately, she has too many levels, too much HP to get through this at a very easy time.
Yeah, I had to do a little bit of fiddling, but there we go. That is a knocked out party, and that is time for another Gato theme.
Warlink is saving outside of Troya, is in position to take on his Z5. Looks to be in a excellent situation with all of his gear here. And Asuka pulling out the Toad strats against Calbrena. I love to see this.
Why not?
I mean, it's interesting. You would think that both the Cals and the Brainas would have that boss bit that makes them immune to things like Toad or Stop, but it turns out that the Cals, the back dolls, do not have that boss flag activated, so they can be attacked with things like Toad or Stop, things like that. So you gotta love to see that kind of thing.
And as we have Asuka picking up the hook, Warlink heading on to Zeromus. We have had a 6th place finish. Tella says relax. Takes a 1 hour, 38 minute, and 57 second finish.
GG's to all our finishers, and as Warlink enters the fight, and as Cubs Rule starts the Twin Harp fight here, we also want to make one more shout out to Gambit, who is restreaming, and Euphoric Lemon, who is tracking for us tonight. They both have done a great job. Just want to throw out some thanks to them, making everything run smooth and making sure everything goes well for this race, because if it wasn't for them, we'd have a much harder job talking about blank screens.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I could talk about a blank screen for like 5-10 minutes tops, but we've been going for a fair bit longer than that. So their help and their participation is very much appreciated. Of course, thanks again to all of our runners who are actually playing the game that we're seeing and putting on the show for us.
No, agree. Yes, thanks to everyone who the volunteers in the race rooms for providing us with entertainment on these restreams. It's always great to see people both new and not so new to this game being willing to show their expertise at playing what is an excellent game.
So that is Cub's rule through the Cave Magnus fight. Asuka has all the pieces she needs, so she'll be down to Kokol's Forge any moment now. Warlink getting through this Zeromus fight with pretty solid swings, so not expecting this to go on terribly long.
We did just have a clutch heal cure 4 from Rosa after Kane took the counter nuke and then the Big Bang, leaving him with, I think, just about 40 hit points. So,
move, yeah. That's the dangerous 1-2 punch here. And of course, Fridia's taking a nap, but that was expected and intended, so no worries there.
Well, if you come to Zeromus with only 30 hit points, probably not going to end well for you.
Yeah, usually not.
Because now we have Asuka about to complete objective number 1 on her side, get the crystal. We have Cubs rule through the Cave Magnus, has the hook, and is going to be right on her heels. We should have a very, very close finish between these two runners. And yes, meanwhile, it does look like Warlink has this fight well in hand. Probably just a few more swings.
Yep, there's rocks.
Just a few more seconds here. A couple more swings should do it, especially with that kind of damage output.
That looks like it.
There's your crack, your boom, your shake. Warlink is finished in 7th place tonight. Official time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 45 seconds. GG's to Warlink. And hope to get him in for an interview shortly. Meanwhile, Asuka was seeing what was for sale here at the Coco shop, which Cubs rule is just about to enter. Yeah, this should be a very close finish between these two racers.
Yeah, I seem to recall that Cubs rule has slightly more levels on Asuka. So may have a little faster of a time in the actual Zeromus fight. Asuka also has, that Tela in the middle at, what was it, 38, 39? Might be a little high for the sort of agility anchoring you really want to do. I imagine she's kind of fiddling with her equipment right now to try and maximize some of that. But may end up just going and picking up a placeholder. Like Warlink did.
I think Tela has a curse ring on Asuka's side, which would make him an anchor well into like the 50s, I believe, in terms of levels. However, I don't know if she'll feel comfortable enough to go to Zeromus with the rest of her party only in the 40s. She might take a few more fights to get some more levels on her characters.
That is true. It is perfectly doable to fight Zeromus in the lower 40s. I mean, it's possible to do it with a base level Edward. It's just a matter of how comfortable you are and how strong your strategies are.
Crabdrill does also have the crystal now, doing a little extra shopping to make sure that his fights go well.
Yeah, we're seeing high 40s, low 50s on his side, so his levels are going to be in a much safer position.
I think that little ding in my ear means we are joined by Warlink right now. GG.
Thank you.
So, how did that seed work out for you, do you feel?
Well, compared to other seeds I've been practicing with this flag set, I have a idea party set up at the beginning, so I'm not like holding like equipment for other characters in the back burner, and I had to fight with inventory boss to like sell any equipment and just gambles like, is there going to be a counter edge? I don't think so. So I'm really glad that at the beginning, as I got my party, I can roll with this.
No, absolutely, and roll you did. I think you did a very good job here. When you first saw that Valvalis in the required King of Monsters spot, what was going through your mind?
If you look back when I first saw it, I just went to the corner and cried. I was like, just cry. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I was like, at least I have a cane, so I can jump and get her out of the tornado form, so I can land nukes or anything magic wise on her. So luckily, I was able to get 10 key items, do my grind there, and then start knocking on her. And then at the point, it's like, you know what? I'm here. I'll take Canazzo at the same spot, see what he has, and continue on and try to kill all the boss locations.
Yeah, we weren't sure if that approach with Canazzo was just opportunity or kind of desperation, since you were still looking for the hook at that point. Ultimately, still looking for the hook at that point. And wound up hitting 17 out of 17 as you're going through that hunt. Was it starting to get a little like frustrating trying to find that hook, trying to find your last pieces of the puzzle?
Yeah, if you remember, I flew up to Troy. I started to do something up to Harp, and at that point, it's like, let me check Luca Cave first, see if that has either the Legend Sword or some sort of progression item. Saw the package, like, okay, I haven't seen Demoness yet. Let's see what this boss is. And it's like, oh, great. Now, at the point, it's like, okay. At the end, it's like, I'm at the point that 7 boss locations, no problem right there. I just go boom, 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 just hope something to drop and basically manage my save slots to make sure I have the right location, all that stuff. I think I only messed up once, and that's with the Luca check, and I went to the wrong save and just went back to the correct save.
No, I have to say that, especially for a seed where you basically showed us everything and we're exhaustively went through everything, I think you did a very good job of getting through some of the more difficult spots. And someone who's, I believe, is new to the restreams, I think it's great to see.
Yeah, compared to the last time I did a restream, my last objective was a boss, and it was gated, and I spent I think it was a good hour trying to find that key item to get to that gated location, to the boss location. And it's just at the end at that scene, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this scene anymore. But this one, for this one, it's just basically, I was looking at Discord trying to see where everyone's finishing at that. It's like, okay, the last piece might be at a ruse spot, or someone they might gamble with the right location. So I wasn't frantically where is this? At least it's a key item. It's not a boss gated with something. So
yeah, it was kind of a theme for a lot of the runners on the restream tonight, where you're making very sound decisions that just weren't paying out for this particular seed. So it was a reasonable route, but it was a bit of a rabbit hole to find that legend sword.
Yeah, that and also with was it T Wild or T Wireless? One of those two.
Wildish, yeah.
Yeah, with that, I was able to get the Cecil earlier and able to set up early, like, let's hit up ordeals, get Cecil power up, and then do my usual checks, going through Antlion, Fabul, do ordeals first. It's like, let's see if I can carry through that and able to like get Cecil power up early. So luckily this seed has been kindish in the beginning, and then it's halfway through. It's like hunting down the legend sword. It's like, okay, it's not a jet seed, because if it's a jet seed, someone's doing Eddie strats and should be finishing right now. So at the back of my mind saying, okay, this last piece of puzzle is not somewhere really easy, and just hopefully your Eddie strats on the fly, or I just grind just to Z levels or that stuff if you're not comfortable with Eddie threats at that point.
No, again, just well done on getting through the seed as fast as you did. Like I said, 7th place is a very good finish, and thanks for volunteering for being restreamed tonight.
Yeah, thank you two for commentary, and thank for the Gambit for rolling this seed. Luckily, it's not written on that stuff. Very chrono triggery for this seed, if you know that.
Yeah.
I was dancing along the harp song, and if it's a regular seed, I would just check the chart, check the harp, and then lap around the room one time, because this is a fun song to listen to and then leave. But since I'm in a race, then don't have to want to listen to it a second time, so whatever.
Once again, thank you again for joining us, and GG on the finish.
Thank you, and everyone here and watching the stream, have a good night.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, we've had a few more finishes. We had Kappa finishing in 8th place with 1 hour 46 minutes 3 seconds. Sorbius finishing in 9th place with 1 hour 47 minutes 46 seconds. Armitage in 10th place right behind at 1 hour 48 minutes 9 seconds. And in 11th place, on the restream here, was Cubs Rule, finishing 1 hour 53 minutes 25 seconds. So GG to him and GG to all of them as well.
Yep, we will have Cubs Rule in here in a moment or two to discuss that seed, but we do have Asuka heading up to the moon, heading up to the Zeromus fight. She has sorted out her party and hopefully done enough organizing and coordinating that we can take out Lavos once again.
Seems to be a theme here, repeating time. I can't put my finger on it.
I don't know. I feel like we've had this one before, though.
Meanwhile, we are joined by our 11th place finisher, Cubs Rule 21. GG's for that race.
Thank you. GG, everyone.
So, overall impression of how that seed went. How do you think it went?
Well, I walked into Hobbs at about 1.5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, double objective, jet seed, okay. Boy, was I wrong.
Well, in a way, we did have 2 paired up objectives, as that Valvolus did lead to part of the forging. On the other hand, it was Valvolus at King of Town of Monsters, so...
Yeah, I admit, I was putting that one off for quite a bit.
We weren't blaming you.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, I was so sure that it was going to be Seal Cave, and I was just walking into that 17, but game threw a little bit of a bone there at the end.
Yeah, although when part of your critical path is a demist at the Magus Sister spot, that is still pretty rude.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder where that was, and it's like, oh, okay, of course you're there. Why wouldn't you be there? That seems about right. No, that dragon was just hiding today. I will say it was very nice of Babel to just hand me an adamant out of one of those trap chests. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yep, both you and Zoe found that one, and I'm sure you both put it to pretty good use.
I couldn't open the menu for Cecil fast enough.
Now, those trap chests, they're obviously they can be very easy to defeat and can give some very good items, as you have proven tonight.
It was somewhat funny. It's like I went to buy the Excal, and then 2 minutes later, oh, hey, here's a crystal sword. Thank you. Not that, we needed money at that point, but doesn't that just always seem to happen?
Yeah, and then you go and forge and get the piggy stick, which not as good as a crystal sword, but still a surprisingly good sword for Cecil to use.
Oh, I had not done too many seeds with the Supersmith flag, so I'm still learning what some of these items are. It's just there's some very interesting ones in the pool. That's all I know thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Obviously, with it being a brand new flag, we're still learning a lot about what these items are capable of.
Absolutely. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I can't be too upset with that. Just sometimes you hit blank after blank after blank, and then there's just not much left for you to go do.
Sometimes you just don't hit upon the exact key item check that you need to find until just the last one. And that's just the way the randomizer is going to work sometimes, unfortunately.
Good old rando gonna rando.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, I do want to mention one thing. I believe this was your first time on the restream.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for signing up for it. And I think you did a really good job for being your first time.
Thank you very much. Still somewhat new to the game itself, so every seed is just a learning experience at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, you're only going to get better from here.
Yep. Well, I will drop out. Thank you very much, all. Looking forward to watching this one back.
No problems. GG, and congratulations on the finish.
Thank you.
Yep, that was Cubs Rule 21. Took our 11th place overall in this community race, as we have Asuka in the Zeromus fight, holding up relatively well. That Kane is a little more floor adjacent than you might like, but otherwise, the party is holding up, and I think she might have this fight in hand.
One of the nice things about having Avenger is that when Zeromus does throw out that black hole, which cancels status upgrades on your party, well, the Avenger just sort of laughs at that and says, "No, I'm still berserked." And so when you have two Avengers swinging away, you can just sort of ignore that black hole.
Yeah, the black hole says magic's become invalid, but the Avenger sword isn't a magic; it's a way of life.
Now, very good job bringing that Kane back up to full HP, and looks to have this fight well in hand. Actually trying to get this Big Bang nerfed one more time, but unfortunately I think she got the timing slightly off.
Yeah, so there's a possibility of danger here, because this will get, that retaliatory nuke. And there goes the Dragoon yet again. But at least Rosa is still standing, so she can heal up and pick up the party.
One of those times when it's nice to have a 4,000 HP Yang who is not berserk and can help out keeping everyone else upright.
Ooh, but a 2,300 nuke.
Commentator's curse, everybody.
Yeah, I think we can take the blame on that one.
Sorry.
But hey, as long as any party member other than that Kane and that Cecil are left standing, she can pull it back together. There's plenty of room.
And from that nuke cast on by Zeromus, we can tell that she's already in the second phase of the fight and should be getting down to the rocks phase, I would imagine, sooner than later. Meanwhile, once again, I want to thank Gambit, who's doing the restream behind the scenes. Also, Euphoric Lemon, who, again, speaking of first timers, I think it's the first time helping out with one of these races, doing the tracking. I think done a great job with that tonight. And again, if you want to give each of these restreamers or each of these runners a follow, they've done a great job giving us some entertainment in this race tonight. So, again, please follow the links that our restreamers just given us and reward them with a follow, please.
Yeah, and of course, we are here on the Randomania channel. We're here pretty much every Friday night doing these community races. We have also the Free Enterprise channel where we do the Monday community race, and then all sorts of community clubs that go on. That if you thought this flag set was a bit out there and esoteric, well, that's because of Robot Gremlin designed them, but we have other esoteric ones that we do as well that were not designed by robots, maybe. I'm actually not sure anymore.
Speaking of one of them, we do have the series finale of the Enterprise Legacy races tomorrow at 8:30, and I will interrupt myself just a minute because I do see the shake on Asuka's side. We do have a finish, and she is finished in 12th place with a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 1 second. GG's to Asuka, GG's to all of our racers. We'll see if she wants to come in for an interview in a second. While we wait for that, I do want to mention that we are gearing up for our big community tournament, which will be starting in early March, the Lolly Ho League. And signups are open for that, so if you want to join in for that and see how well you stack up against what's probably going to be at least a triple-digit number of other runners, link to the Discord, I believe, was posted in the chat pretty soon. Yes, and so please, follow that, join the Discord, and sign up because we want to see a ton of runners for that tournament.
Yes, but in the meantime, we get to see Asuka here in the commentary booth. Asuka, GG, congrats on the finish.
I would not even waste breath by calling that a GG.
Oh, come on.
Oh no, you did fine.
I finished last. That's not a GG. That's a don't even bother.
The important thing is you finished.
I would have rather forfeited the finish line.
No, you did quite well for that seed. How did it feel running it?
I honestly shouldn't have wiped a Valvalis, so that was poor on my part. I didn't trust my team going into the fight, so I wasted time there. And dealing with a controller that's doing ghost inputs is fun.
Oh.
Oh yeah, though that is rude.
That's extra difficulty on your part.
Yeah.
But also Valvalis at King of Town of Monsters is rude. So
yeah,
I would never feel bad for a wipe on that.
I should have had it the first time. I tried to be a good runner and messed up. So that with those levels, that Val wasn't rude at all. That was just me being terrible at the game. Honestly.
But you pulled through it, and that is the important part at the end of the day.
You can say that. I won't.
I did want to ask you about your party composition, because I think you were the only person on the stream tonight who didn't choose to take the Cecil when you found him.
Well, I figured I wasn't gonna do well, and I don't like Cecil. Okay, I go into these races know that I don't even bother trying to do well, because with all of the runners in this, just looking at the competition, I knew I was gonna be last, so I didn't really care at that point. So I'm just gonna do dumb stuff, and I don't care about Cecil. I don't use Yang much. Let's use him instead.
It's good to try new strategies. I mean, bottom line.
Oh, it didn't work, but I tried it. It is what it is.
I think you deserve more credit than you're giving yourself. I think you did a very good job on a.
Last is last. It was terrible. Just admit it.
Never. I will never admit that.
I'll
Never.
admit it. It was terrible.
No, you were not.
Like people says with Baby Antlion, I'm committing to the bit of being the worst free enterprise runner that y'all got.
You were the person who found the sirens the earliest.
Race?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you start with an Earth crystal. Why wouldn't you go to the treasury first? And Troy just
Very
happened
true.
to be there. But, whatevs. It was dreadful. I need to stop offering my service to get restreamed at this point. Heck, I'll stick behind the scenes and torture runners, not humiliate myself for entertainment.
No, thanks for volunteering, and really, no, I think you acquitted yourself quite well.
We can agree to disagree on that one.
And if you can see, chat is agreeing with me. So I think I have the majority here.
Chat, don't make me roll you a hex seed next time you race.
Why would we not want that though? That's great content.
Better than the content you watched me play with. Heck. Everyone else was great. It's just like, yeah. And then there's me, who can't finish a seed sub 2 hours to literally save her life unless it's a gimmick seed. Heck. Oh well.
Thank you for volunteering tonight, and whether it's in front or behind the scenes, I still look forward to working with you again.
Thanks, and thanks to everyone running the show. Lemon, Gambit, Hupfin, Twisted. Apologies for having to deal with watching 3 very good runners on stream and then the schlup. But yeah, thanks to everyone's hard work.
Thank you.
Okay.
And with that, I think it's it for us tonight. I want to thank all our runners again for being restreamed and giving us an excellent race. Hupfin, it's been wonderful working with you.
Yeah, glad to work with you. Glad to be back. It's been a few weeks since I've managed to get behind the booth, but it's always a nice community to work with, and always get some interesting races and interesting challenges coming out of Free Enterprise.
Absolutely, and I believe we're going to be sending you over to Calamity, who is working with something Free Enterprise related, and leave it to him to describe what he's doing.